Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. By previous class we discussed about the first part of fifth phase of Ottoman Empire and we learned about Sultan Abdul Majid and important events and reforms which were brought by Abdul Majid in his time. So today we are going to the second part of fifth phase of Ottoman Empire and today we will learn about Sultan Abdul Aziz Murad V, Abdul Hamid II and important events happened in this time. Sultan Abdul Aziz became the 32nd ruler of Ottoman Empire in 1861 and he ruled until 1876 and in 1876 he was dethroned because of his mismanagement of Ottoman economy and after 6 days he was found dead and still there are doubts about his death. Some historians explained that as a murder and some others explained it as a normal death. Now we can discuss what kinds of achievements and what kinds of reforms he brought to the Ottoman Empire. So between 1861 and 1871, Sultan Abdul Aziz implemented the reforms which started by his father and his half-brother Abdul Majid, and these reforms implemented in the time of Abdul Aziz under the supervision of his chief ministers Muhammad Fuad Pasha and Muhammad Ali Pasha, and according to these reforms there were brought some new policies like in 1864 new administrative districts were set up and also in 1864 a council of state was established in Ottoman Empire, and also the public education of Ottoman Empire was reorganized on the model of French education and he reorganized Istanbul University as a modern institution in 1861, and Sultan Abdul Aziz played an important role in the establishment of first Ottoman civil code, and he had a good relationship with European countries, especially with France and the United Kingdom, and in 1867 he was the first Ottoman ruler to visit these foreign countries or to visit Western Europe, and also in his time the railroads were opened in the Ottoman Empire for first time, and the first railroads were between Izmir and Aydin and also between Alexandria and Cairo. All these railroads were opened in 1856, and in 1863 Ottoman Empire issued postal stamps for first time, and also Ottoman Empire joined Universal Postal Union in 1875 as a founding member of Universal Postal Union. And also when he visited Western Europe he visited some museums there and he was impressed by those museums and its benefits, so he ordered to establish a museum in Istanbul and it was named as Istanbul Archaeology Museum. And unfortunately in 1873 there was a crop failure in Ottoman Empire and many peasants died, and extra expenditure of Abdul Aziz on Ottoman navy and building new palaces increased the depth of Ottoman Empire, which led to the revolt against Sultan Abdul Aziz, and later in 1876 his ministers dethroned him and they appointed Murad V as the new ruler of Ottoman Empire. Murad V ruled Ottoman Empire only for 3 months, and because of his physical and mental problems he was dethroned, and his half-brother Abdul Hamid II became the new ruler of Ottoman Empire. Sultan Abdul Hamid II became the 34th ruler of Ottoman Empire, and he was the last ruler who ruled Ottoman Empire with full control and power. The rulers who came after Sultan Abdul Hamid II has no political power or any control over the Ottoman Empire, and the time Sultan Abdul Hamid II ruled is later known as Hamidian era in the history. Now we can discuss important achievements of Sultan Abdul Hamid II. So in 1876, Sultan Abdul Hamid II brought a constitution to the Ottoman Empire, and according to that constitution he established a parliament for Ottoman Empire, and he brought these reforms as an agreement he made with Republican Young Ottomans. And later in 1878 he suspended both the constitution and parliament because of some disagreement with the Ottoman parliament. And in his time also the modernization and reforms of Ottoman Empire continued, and these reforms includes the reforms in the bureaucracy and also the extension of railway roads in the Ottoman Empire, and he started a system for population registration and control over the press. So now the Ottoman Empire can control the press of Ottoman Empire, and in 1898 he started the first local modern law school in the Ottoman Empire. And most of the reforms which happened in the time of Sultan Abdul Hamid II was in the field of education. So many schools, especially professional schools, were established, which includes schools of law, art, trades, civil engineering, veterinary medicines, customs, farming and linguistics. Now we can discuss important events happened in this time. So as we discussed in the achievement of Sultan Abdul Hamid II, that he brought a constitution and a parliament for Ottoman Empire in 1876. So the time between 1876 to 1878 is known as first constitutional era of Ottoman Empire, because it was the time there was a parliament and constitution for Ottoman Empire for the first time. Another important event happened in this time was Russo-Turkish War, which was started in 1877. In that battle, Russia defeated Ottoman Empire very quickly, and that war ended in 1878. And at the end of that war, a treaty named the Treaty of San Stefano was signed, and according to that treaty, Ottoman Empire lost a lot of places and territories, and Russia forced Ottoman Empire to give independence to Romania, Serbia and Montenegro, and also to give autonomy to Bulgaria. And another important happened in the time of Hamidian era was Armenian issue. So around 1890s, Armenians started demanding for implementation of reforms that was offered and promised by Sultan Abdul Hamid II to Armenians. But later, when they demanded for that, Abdul Hamid II refused to implement that reforms in Armenia. So they started some revolts. Then Sultan Abdul Hamid II gave Kurdish bandits in Armenia, who were already mistreating Armenians, a semi-official status, and these bandits, with the help of Sultan Abdul Hamid II, treated Armenians very badly, and as a result of this violence, more than 3 lakhs of Armenians were killed, and later historians called this massacre of Armenians as Hamidian massacre, and some Western or European historians call him as a bloody sultan or red sultan. And as a revenge for this massacre of Armenians, there formed some Armenian organization. Their ultimate aim was to kill Sultan Abdul Hamid II, who supported Kurdish bandits in their massacre of Armenians, and they tried their best to assassinate him, but this organization failed in achieving their goal of killing Sultan Abdul Hamid II. And we have to discuss more about Hamidian era. And also we have to discuss some more rulers of Ottoman Empire before the decline of Ottoman Empire. So we will discuss about those.